Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to this new appointment with the morning briefing. Let's do a recap of what happened yesterday, Monday, as we anticipated that in yesterday's morning briefing, the European markets were closed, but the American markets were open. And it was a day mostly in the red for much of the day, except for a recovery in the final part of the day. At the moment, the situation is that yesterday's decline has been fully recovered. Yesterday's descent, we are working within last week's range, although it's been a short week. We have just recovered it. It's 9:30 in the morning in Europe, so the European markets have been open for about half an hour. We have just made this recovery from Friday's lows. We'll see if they can maintain them and perhaps aim for more recovery-oriented goals, substantial. As usual, we are also going to do a recap of the macroeconomic situation. At the moment today, there is no important data except for the speech, Lagarde's speech. In the afternoon, which is the morning in the United States, and then the first quarterly reports start to come in. Today we have Alphabet, then throughout the week we'll have all the other big ones. So pay maximum attention and purchases to these earnings, which as usual will surely be market movers. That said, as we were saying, let's start with the Nasdaq by looking at a 4-hour chart. Thank you. Here it is. So the situation is similar. Yesterday, as we had pointed out, we were leaning on this edge. In short, we broke it, we slipped down. Now it's recovering a little bit, as mentioned. In short, looking at the 5-minute chart, the situation is still one of downward pressure. In short, at the moment it is not. Success again, nothing new in the sense that we have remained in the, let's say, in this standby situation with the envoy's speech. So that's all. These are all situations that are developing, and we should be ready to understand what the implications for the markets might be. From an operational point of view, let's look at the Nasdaq. Obviously, it's a 5-minute chart as we were doing to provide some additional indicative insights. As I was saying, in short, at the moment we have recovered the reaction at the RD1 level and the BC3 levels. So this is the area to recover, absolutely, if one wants to think of a day of increase. In short, I expect here is an attempt to break through this area of BCT levels. So between RD1, RD2, therefore the break of RD2 could then provide, in short, nice wide bullish spaces to the downside. Obviously, we monitor again Friday's low, which at this moment could be comfortably retested, then to resume the upward trend. If, of course, during the retest it should be reduced downward, it should re-enter the previous range. I also expect a test of HV comfortably. The holding could then provide the possible new upward attacks. The failure to hold, of course, would definitely allow for a test of yesterday's lows in the SD area, or we will see, in short, the developments. Working in healthcare remains high, even despite more markets being, let's say, half open, so to speak. In short, the day has been quite volatile. Let's move on to ES. Obviously, a similar situation. It too has recovered Friday's lows. It is exactly mirrored. The Nasdaq is working a little better in the sense that it broke RD1. So then it went on to test the BC3 levels. Like the Nasdaq, we will see if they find the strength to break through this level here, which then corresponds to all this reacquisition here, which is of Monday's opening. Exactly, so here as well. In short, we have recovered not Friday's lows, but Monday's lows. So the recovery of this area here. So this is again the NASA, which I had confused with the gap. And this is the area, obviously, to be recovered, that of RD2. So we monitor this for potential bullish breakouts. Up to here, it could easily reach just to test again. In short, the lows of last week, a similar discussion. Obviously, for example, this is the area to monitor. The recovery area is nice, directional, even if you draw a small linear regression channel on it. It is well placed, well structured. We will see if they can then find additional strength to make an attack on this area. Here, okay, having made this clarification, let's obviously move on to the Dow Jones. Here it is. It too, in short, has recovered situation. In short, more or less similar. It hasn't really recovered even its BC3 level. In short, it's working a little below, a little more delayed in short for the volumes. In short, at this time on the Dow Jones, they are significantly lower in short compared to them and Standard and NASA. In short, here too, we need to monitor this area here, which is that of 39.8, 39,000. In short, the first obstacle in short will definitely be this one. In the area of 39,000, the break of 39 could definitely lead the price to test 39.2, which then corresponds to this entire area of lows here, to the downside. Obviously, we need to monitor this area here first, which is city at the BCD level, so 38.4, whose break would lead prices definitely to a test of this area here at 38.3 for then possible bearish attacks to the lows of yesterday. So definitely perfect. Let's also look at the Russell. The triangle I had drawn remained shown yesterday in the morning briefing. Break, nice break. Now we are really trying to re-enter the triangle. Obviously this could push the price upwards. In short, with a nice bullish push, we adjust it just a little bit. Now in short, it was drawn like this. In short, on the fly, I'm not expecting any precision, but in short, the idea was this. This was the triangle we had drawn on the H4 chart, in case I might call it up. It should appear. Here it is, here. Perfect. We had said it had tested multiple times, even yesterday. It was working above it, broke it, nice breakout with strength and volume from the triangle. Then it found the low well in the evening, a recovery, and now it has stopped right well at a test to re-enter this figure. In short, if it were to re-enter, it could probably go to retest the upper part, high, and then it finds strength there. Obviously, it could give a nice bullish push and bring prices even to the area of these previous days' highs. Okay, we looked at the Russell. Let's also look at the DAX, which has reopened today after yesterday's closure. Obviously, it's a bearish opening right away last night, but then there was a recovery along with everyone else. In short, the movement that also occurred on the American futures. At the moment we have filled the gap, it left it open, not completely. Now then, it has retraced. It's working on SD0. It could certainly find support, also accompanied by a rise in the American markets. A bit of recovery and trying to break this resistance here. This entire area of resistance at the HV level, whose break could easily lead prices to the RD1 levels. Okay. Having said that, for the DAX, we obviously look at oil, which also in short mirrored the American futures yesterday. In short, it first underwent quite a bit of declines. Then in short, there was the final recovery. At the moment, in short, it was forming this sort of double top, in short, corresponding to this peak, which was essentially the pullback of this decline. So the break of this level, which is 63.20, 63.30, roughly the break could lead prices to test these nearby levels here, which then correspond to the pivot of this area here of this double top recorded last week after a high, obviously relative. And in short, then there was the whole nice decline So we monitor this level because another test of this area here then 63.63 and 60 if, 63.40 and 53, 63 if, 63.40 and 53.60. The break could easily lead prices to then test this area here at 64, thus with a possible probable test of the VIX area and 1D max. So we monitor this whole area here. On the downside, obviously, we can calmly see that there is a nice accumulation of volumes at the BC3 levels on SD0 with an extension up to SD1. So this is the area to monitor. Between HV Sequences and SD1 as a possible buying zone with a test from above, and whose break could obviously also lead to a bearish push for a downward test of the low volume levels and X. There's nothing left to watch, obviously, as they made another upward move last night. The jacket, to explain, just made this morning at 8. It reached the maximum expectation for today, and then it retraced, now resting on RD1, regaining strength. The discussion seems to me even super frauds the trend. Clearly stated, very broad. Trade called by everyone. Prices continue to make new highs. Last night, this morning we reached 3.5, so absolutely a bullish setup for gold. Let's also look at SP, which, well, yesterday reached these lines that if we look at the 4-hour chart are always the same ones we had set. Here they are. It rested right on this target we had given, okay? A possible recovery area is definitely 52 and 50 to recover. So the area, as for the index, a possible re-entry into this sort of triangle that we had drawn could lead to a test of the upper part, so in the area of 5 and 4. However, obviously the road ahead is quite long and there are obstacles to overcome like this one. In area SD1, which is between 5.2 and 30, 5.2 and 50, those 2 and 35, 2 and 50, which is certainly a tough area to overcome. We will see what developments might occur. As always, please be careful. Maximum caution in short. Even yesterday, it was quite a volatile day with sudden spikes, so maximum caution. Absolutely reduced during this period. As always, I invite you to leave a like on the video, follow me on social media, and as always, we'll catch up later in the chat. Thanks to everyone for your attention.